Hey everyone, it's Lindsay Baker. Good morning. We're live here on Rescue Stories, and I have an amazing group with me today. These are the part of the angel group that rescued 634 chickens. Just, I think, what, ladies, was it last week when the rescue happened? Last week, as soon as last week. Anyway, we have Kery Shaw from Stolen Lives Sanctuary. We have Lisa Karlan with us, who also helped facilitate. Is that right, Lisa? Part of it?
Yeah.
She's a co-anchor here on her show is Hey Doc, What's New in Plant-Based Medicine? She's on every week on Friday. And then we have Christina Morrissey, the executive director for Harvest Home Sanctuary. We have Meghan Dibble, who is a co-founder of Herd and Flock Animal Sanctuary, and Jill Johnson of Jill's Animal Farm. You're the executive director, I believe, Jill, is that correct? Yes. Thank you, ladies, for being on. I'm going to jump right into a question for Kery. Kery, how did this all come about? How did this whole rescue come about? Set it up for us, if you would, please.
I was actually just reminiscing the other day. Basically, a friend reached out to me and said, look, this is the situation. We have a farmer that is going to be depopulating, and he's willing to give us X amount of hens for free. That's the biggest thing specifically for our project and anyone that we work with, is that when we do get animals, that we are not paying for them. So of course my ears perked up, and I just thought it was this amazing opportunity, but also there were going to be some issues since we were facing the 4th of July weekend. So
yeah, I wanted to ask you about, to tell people that don't know what depopulation is. What is depopulation? It's pretty hard. Go ahead.
It's their version of when they're downsizing on the farm or getting ready for a new set of whatever species they're getting. In this case, poults. This farmer was getting ready for his new batch, which meant that there's going to be the period of cleaning the farm from the last bunch that were there. And so it could be anything from gassing to foaming to, in this particular case, this farmer wanted to adopt them all out so that they could still continue to live. And so he was very adamant on that. And he had a friend working with him on adopting them out, whether or not they went on to continue being egg layers or just in this particular case, homes and sanctuaries for a second chance at life. This farmer was pretty open to anything.
So these hens were not spent hens necessarily. Some were still able to lay eggs.
Yes.
So hopefully they got adopted out to, not through you guys. I know that's going to be I saw the photos. In fact, let's jump into one of the videos I have here, Kery, that you put together as a photojournalist. Of course, your stuff is amazing. So let's jump in. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I'm not seeing it. This is terrible. Wait, give me 1 second, guys.
These photos did come from members of the crew too, so I just sent
Okay, so that was that a compilation of all of you ladies' photos, or was that just, yes? Okay, so I'm going to have some of the other ladies comment as well. Let's bring them into the conversation. Meghan, tell us a little bit about your experience and any of the photos in there that were related to your rescue work. Could you talk about those a little bit for us, please? And first of all,
Sure.
and before that, please introduce yourself and tell us the kind of work you've been doing and so forth. Let's go ahead and brag a little bit. We want to hear all the stuff. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Meghan Dibble, and my wife Katie and I just started Herd and Flock Animal Sanctuary. We moved to the farm about a year ago. We were going to take a year to get settled in, but 6 months in, we couldn't resist taking on our first piggy rescues. And from there, it's just kind of blown up. We have pigs, cows, chickens, goats, cats, dogs, of course, and a turtle. When we got a call around the July 4th weekend saying, hey, we need a landing space for some chickens, we thought, well, we have an empty barn. We put some wood shavings in there, cleaned it up, got some food, and Kery showed up. She brought over a group of hens. We set them up in there. We did some health checks, and the first group was a pretty small group of maybe 35 or 40, and they headed off to their forever homes within just a couple of days. And then Kery called again and said, hey, can we bring some more? And so right now we are hosting just over 90 hens and one rooster independently, but also on his way to a forever home. And it has been a really joyous experience. We have our permanent residents who we take care of every day. And to have these hens that we can drop in, check on, make sure they're getting special treats and watermelon, making sure everyone's getting food and accounted for.
Yeah.
It's been really fun for us. It's the first time we're doing something like this, and I think first of many times. You hear that, Kery?
Great. That's great.
Yeah.
And in fact, we have footage of that. We're going to come back to you in a few minutes and show that footage. We have amazing footage of your farm, and we also have some footage of the ladies getting the watermelon and all that good stuff. So we're coming back to you. Okay,
Thanks.
Christine, tell us
Good morning,
about
everybody.
Good morning. And you're with Harvest Home Animal Sanctuary.
I
So
am, yes.
Tell us how your involvement and how many chickens do you have and how this is all working out for you.
We took a tiny role with respect to this particular rescue. Over the weekend of July 4th, Kery sent me a text message late at night, and I knew it was something very important if it was going to be late in the evening. So we started conversating about this new rescue that was unfolding. She asked if we could assist in some way, and we said, of course. At this point, our capacity is at its limit. However, we can help individuals that need extra special attention. So that's the tiny role that we played. We were able to welcome in 3 hens that needed a little extra TLC and give them the dignity and care that they deserve.
Let's watch this video a second. You'll come back on with us and comment, but let's watch this. Are these the chickens you're talking about?
That's Elle right there getting her health exam. And then we have Jessie as well as Janice.
Okay, great. All right. I thought it might be good for people to see. Go ahead with what you were saying. Go ahead.
Well, just every time a rescue like this happens, California is rich with rescuing egg-laying hens from confinement in cages. It's become a bit of a tradition over the last 15, 20 years. So it's a real honor to be a part of this rescue, even though it's a very small role. But for us at the sanctuary, with this rescue, it's about recognizing these animals as individuals and giving them the care that they never received. At this particular farm, there was upwards originally of about 20,000 chickens. So the idea of individual veterinary care or animal care is something completely foreign. And we, as a sanctuary and other sanctuaries and individual rescuers, are able to elevate these animals' care and give them a voice, give them a name, and give them a safe place to live. So that's what we're doing for the 3 that we took in. Sadly, one of our girls, Jessie, spent just about 28 hours with us, but the 28 hours that she had with us were very meaningful, and she died in our care with love and respect. And that's what every single animal deserves.
That's right. And we wanted to say that people please share out this video. And ladies, would you please comment and put your web addresses in so that people want, if they want to make donations, we're asking people to help out, even $5, $10, whatever you can do. And another way you can help is to go to the website, spread the word, go to their social media, which we're going to be putting all of these links up. And that's what you ladies can be doing during the broadcast while you're waiting. Just put in the information, because the whole idea is to help out with this rescue effort. It has not finished. It has just actually begun. And we're going to talk about that some more in just a moment. But let's introduce the rest of my guests. We have Jill Johnson from Jill's Farm Animal Sanctuary. Is that correct, Jill? Am I saying that right?
Animal Rescue. Jill's Farm Animal Rescue, but yeah.
Rescue. Sorry about that. So tell us how you got involved in this rescue operation.
We're relatively new, incorporated as a nonprofit, just about 2 years, although we've been doing this work for about 7 years. And this is the first operation that we participated in where the animals came from out of state. I was contacted by the Dairy Calf Underground Railroad, a group of volunteers that mostly negotiate the release of the animals and then drive them. They're mostly drivers and they transport. And so that's how we got involved initially. And so in general, Jill's Farm has been more of a local-based rescue. Like every spring, if we have capacity, we post on Facebook, on the Vashon Facebook group, saying, if you want to replenish your flock and don't want to kill them, you can donate them to Jill's Farm Animal Rescue. And they'll live out their lives and you can visit them, bring your children. And I said, Jill's Farm takes old hens. And then I always get a lot of funny replies saying, hey, I'm an old hen, can I come? So I say, yeah, we've reserved a spot in the coop for you. And so we've had big batches. When people want to replenish, we'll get like 20 or 40, but it's been pretty much only local. So it was really fun to be able to participate in this one. We just happened to have our quarantine coop, this one coop that we don't use regularly. It was all free. We were able to fill it up with 50 of these beautiful little hens.
Oh, that's wonderful. All right, we're going to show a little footage from that in a bit, and I want to bring Lisa on, but I just had a question for all you ladies before we go on, and this is a concern of mine that I've been thinking about. As the animal agriculture industry starts to collapse and more of these farms have to depopulate, how do you see, like, as far as looking towards the future, it seems like this is going to be an ongoing thing. And does anyone have any ideas of how to move forward on this? Megan, you're shaking your head. Do you have any? And then Lisa, we'll jump right back to you. But Megan, I'm going to let you come on for now. Go ahead.
It's a cycle, right? And people have to come up with other ways of eating breakfast besides eggs, or baking. People need to stop consuming chickens and their eggs, and really that's the only way. It's a very long-term problem. I was thinking about this a little bit also, in that my dream is that there'll be an animal sanctuary on every block, and that eventually we won't even need the animal sanctuaries, right? There are 5 animal sanctuaries in Vacaville, and it's a pretty small rural town, and there's 5 here. And I was thinking, please, can we get like 10 more and change hearts and minds? And then, it's just, we have to be in it for the long view. It's just not a quick fix, but we can all do our part and educate and advocate.
Right. I hear a lot of static. I'm going to probably unmute some of you, so I will remute you when you're coming back on. Lisa, let's talk about how you got involved and how you got the rest of us involved in this. It's wonderful. Bless you. But go ahead. Talk about the whole thing in your experience. And please, anybody, if you're shuffling or moving anything, it is making that noise. Let's try to minimize that so we don't lose our audience. Go ahead, Lisa.
Excuse me. Okay, sorry. Allergies are bothering me. I apologize for that. So my first entree into this particular rescue was when I was tagged. Sorry. When I was tagged on Facebook by Connie Spence, who's an activist here in the LA area, and she tagged me and James Les Mitchell and Paige Parsons. And so the first thing I did was I texted Zoe. It was early in the morning. I know Zoe's up at Happy Hen Animal Sanctuary. God, I wish this would stop. And I asked Zoe, and she said, yeah, we know about it. We're working on it. I said, okay, that's great. If you need any of my help, let me know. And then I had been working on another rescue of pigs, 4-H pigs that we successfully rescued and saved from slaughter. So I was pretty much consumed with that. And then later in the afternoon, I got a call from Jane Velez Mitchell, and she goes, we need the vegan ninja. We need you now. We need you to help coordinate this rescue. She didn't know there were 634. We heard there were 200 then. So
right. There was some confusion about how many there actually were. And then you went forward with another rescue. Why don't you move forward on that? Because we got to keep going.
Right. So anyway, so I first got involved, and then it was just a matter of coordinating, figuring out how many there were, how we were going to get the hens to be picked up, who could take them. And Happy Hen initially said they would be able to take 100. It turned out there were 216 delivered to Happy Hen, and then the rest of the 634 were rescued by these sanctuaries represented here, as well as other sanctuaries. We're going to have another show on Tuesday, and Lindsay will talk about that. So we want to represent all the sanctuaries on this rescue show story.
Yeah,
so it was just really a back and forth of who's going to get them and how are we going to coordinate who's going to pick them up, and I participated in that. And
so just so I understand, so then Kery, is that how you and Lisa connected, or how did that work out?
Yes. My friend had said, Jane Velez had reached out to her and said, did you know about this was happening? And then, so somehow we all of us got connected, because I love how everyone had come together, but there was also this side where, because we're trying to up here in our area work with these farmers and be discreet, so there's that aspect of it too. And I said, oh, let's rein it in, let's hone it in. How can we get a grip on this and make it save as many lives as possible, and still keep this relationship happening with the farmer at the same time, so that for future rescues, So, but yeah, people they heard about this particular case, and everyone just wanted to get involved, which is just, to me, so beautiful that this many people are willing to step up and do something.
And you have a special relationship. Sorry, Lisa, you have a special relationship with this farmer. Do you think that from talking to him, have you learned some things about, do you get the feeling that he's ready to leave this industry? What is the overall view that you're getting from the farmers? I'll get to you in a second, Lisa. Go ahead, Kery.
For us, this is one of the few farmers that we've gotten to know pretty well. And I don't think he's ready to leave, but his idea is he wants to do in his version the most humane. We've talked about the different kinds of farms out there, which some of them I didn't even know existed. He talked about the different level buildings and and the cages and all that. And he wants his hens, for what he can do, the most humane and happiest for them. I know that these farmers are struggling. They do want more money. And then for him, this makes the most sense. He knows that there is the demand for the organic free range, But yeah, and he also has that mentality of wanting these girls to have the most out of their life, whether it is they go to another farm to be continuously used or become companion animals. But he did not want this to be, because he knew that they did have a lot of life still in them. And he saw it as a waste, that it was going to the end of the road for them. So he was avoiding it at all costs. And
Okay, great. Thanks. Lisa, go ahead. I want to let
I was
Lisa.
going to say I've done a little work with Renee King-Stonen from the Ranchers Advocacy Program in Texas. And there is a farm, the Barrett Farm, that was an egg farm. And the farmers were really almost under a stranglehold, so to speak. They wanted to move away from factory farming of these hens, but financially, they couldn't step away. And they've been able to make a lot of progress. And now they're in the process of turning their egg farm into a mushroom farm. And and I think that as activists, it's important for us to look at some of these farms that have had these ways to be able to continue to make a living, and at the same time satisfy their debt, because they have a debt to the farms, because it's not that they own it outright. They all have debts to the companies that oversee what they do, so that they can get out financially alive. So I think we need more of these programs so that people can transition, because the bottom line is it's not sustainable when you look at it from a global perspective in terms of the environment, in terms of what we're doing. We're certainly not helping people continue to consume eggs, which we know are one of the, next to dairy, the largest forms of saturated fat and cholesterol in the diet. There are other ways to bake. You don't need eggs to bake.
Yeah, and I think as activists, we have to start looking to the future of how we're going to build that infrastructure, because we do get that question all the time.
Right.
So what happens if we stop killing? What do you do with all these animals? And I haven't heard a solid, I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way to anyone, but I don't think we yet have the answer to that. Let's play another clip here. Yeah. Christine. Yeah, the first thing that strikes me, and Christine, I want you to talk a little bit about these girls that you have here, is is this supposed to be cage-free, humane, and why do they come in looking like they're so spent and sick? Christine, go ahead. What do you think? Christine, can you hear me? Are you muted? Let's see. Oh, you're muted. Hang on. Sorry about that. Did you hear my question, Christine?
I did. I think it's a perfect segue to what we were just talking about, of where would all these animals go, theoretically, if farms shut down? And the reality is a sad one. These animals, like the video that you just was showing, Lindsay, was one of an animal that looked like she was elderly, but she's only 1.5 years old. And because of the genetic selection for these animals to produce the high volume of eggs they produce in any given year, their body's aging process accelerates, and they are prone to reproductive disease. They're very sensitive to respiratory infections when they move through flocks. So the sad reality is that these animals don't live these long lives. And that is because what we as humans have done in the name of food production, that's something that really needs to be considered. And I think as sanctuaries, that's a very powerful storytelling tool to tell the story of how these animals in a lot of ways are man-made. They don't exist in nature, and their lives are cut dramatically short because of the way that we've genetically manipulated them. So I think Jessie's story, the girl that was with us for just 28 hours, is very much the poster hen for this particular issue. Really? She shouldn't have died at 1.5 years. She should be alive. She should live many years to come. Chickens can live well over 10 years of age. But for a lot of these girls that are rescued from farms, they come to us damaged, and their lives are cut dramatically short. So that has to be a real...
What happened? We lost you. Can you speak, Christine?
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you cut out for a moment. But I want to ask Jill the same question. Jill, comment on, in fact, let me just show a little bit of your, I'm sorry it's taking me so long to find these. Now, this is one of the ones that you rescued, Jill, is that correct?
That's correct. It's one of the ones that looked the least feathered. I mean, they weren't all that bad, but that was definitely the case for several of them.
I have a little video here too of yours here. Let me play that.
Turkeys and ducks, and so we do have a lot of eggs. So with the goose eggs, I scrambled them up and fed them to the chickens, which gives them a lot of protein and, you know, to kind of fatten them up a bit.
Yeah.
What I also do later then is I keep all the eggshells. I put them in the oven on low for about an hour, and then pulverize them in a food processor. It turns into a white powder, which if you sprinkle it back on top of their food, then it's a more absorbable way for them to get calcium. So they absorb back their own calcium.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. Meghan, will you go ahead now and address the same thing we were just discussing about how they're coming into you guys and, you know, the condition and so forth?
Yeah, so Kery, when she came and dropped off the hens, we were looking for some with some special needs that went to Christine, which was just so amazing that you were able to care for those special needs hens. Right now we have 3 or 4 hens that actually have no back feathers. Most of their wing feathers are stripped. A lot of necks have no feathers on their necks. And we are seeing a little bit of pecking, some bullying, which totally makes sense. That's a very chicken thing. And so we're having to separate them a little bit to make sure the ones that are being bullied more than the others are getting enough food and water. And so I really love what Christine was saying about how we have to see these hens as individuals. And in a group of 13 to 20,000, it's not possible. But what's been wonderful is getting to know these hens. They're very friendly. They're pretty feisty, and they're actually having a lot of fun, especially when we get the treats going. And so you can really see like their individual personalities blossom, and it's really been very rewarding seeing that happen. And I can't wait for them to get even more individualized attention for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that's really going to be a great thing. So, Kery, talk to us a little bit more about what you see, how you see this unfolding further. Like, what's the next steps? What needs to happen, and so forth. Anybody else can jump in, but I'm just kind of thinking of like, now we have all these chickens. Talk about what needs to happen for them? They need to go to medical care. They need to, like, what's the whole process now with them? I guess that was I was asking if you can answer.
The process is they're under quarantine for 2 weeks because they get deloused. They did come with parasites. In particular, for these hens, they came with a worm that my partner saw, rather large, that necessarily aren't so deadly to chickens, but are for turkeys. So some of the people taking in do have other animals that the parasites could be damaging to. So they're just being treated right now, and then they'll be adopted out. And whether they go to other sanctuaries or to personalized homes as companion animals really depends on who contacts for these hens.
Okay, great. Lisa, you want to add anything in? Wait, you're muted out.
Oh, hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me now? So I want everybody to know I'm not texting my friends. I'm sharing out this video. I just posted it to my page. So because I want everybody to see it. And we were going to talk a little bit about donations. I think some people have fundraisers going. So if you have a fundraiser,
read out the link. I'll type it in right here. Or whoever wants to type them. Let's get those links up, ladies. This is going to be the opportunity.
Yeah, the problem is, Lindsay, we can't make the live comment links. We can only do the private chat links.
We can't.
Yeah.
You can only do the private chat.
Right. Or you can do it on your phone. If you have a fundraiser. Oops.
Yeah, if you have a fundraiser.
Do it on your phone. So we're going to have to put the links up after, unless
anybody put the links up afterwards. That's
put it on the private chat, and then we can transfer it later to the regular comments. But listen, this is one rescue, and as these ladies were saying, there are many rescues in the future to follow. And preserving this relationship with this farmer is of utmost sanctity, because we want them to feel comfortable and not called out in a negative way for bringing these hens so that they can live. And this is probably going to be a process. Maybe he'll do this again, and we'll have to band together again in the state of California and surrounding states, Oregon, Washington, Arizona, to distances that we can safely transport these birds by ground. And we'll have many, many more hens, I think, in the future. I think this went well, and my concern is we want to keep this farmer anonymous, and hopefully, so he will feel comfortable donating and giving us hens in the future. So let's talk about the future of
just a moment, Lisa. I just want to cover one more thing. Yeah. So I also want to show here a little bit to the people that are donating. Please, everyone, if you can donate $5, donate $10. There'll be links on the comments. I would like to make sure we get those links up so that everyone knows them. But we have a great video here that Meghan gave me of what it's like, what the work that these people go through. And I would like you to see that. And this represents not only Meghan, and I keep saying Meghan, I apologize. Meghan, not only does it represent Meghan's sanctuary, herd and flock, but all of the people working at these sanctuaries. So folks, we need to get behind them and help them with this effort. So please donate if you can. If not, share the videos, do a watch party, share the links, all of that stuff. Here, let's watch the.
Somebody's definitely dying.
The pigs are really excited about breakfast.
Good boy.
Yeah, and we had to end it there because it is a long video, but what an amazing video. Wow.
Thanks for showing it.
Oh, you're welcome. I just wanted everyone to see how hard, and the sanctuary is impeccably clean. It's beautiful. All of the ones I saw, all of the conditions, Kery, in the videos you were showing, also the photos. But Lisa wants to talk about the future. So I think, Lisa, this is a good time to talk about the future. Go ahead.
So we're going to have some other sanctuary people on our show on Tuesday. But for this group here, what do you see the future being in terms of making this sustainable for sanctuaries to be able to keep getting, constant influx of new birds? Is that something are you able? Do you see your individual sanctuaries as being able to add on additional birds and keep them, or function as a foster situation to try to adopt out some of the birds that you have, so you'll have room to have new ones coming in? Because I think that's the way for us to be the most productive, is to look at the future. So let me just anybody to respond.
Well, I can start with Jill's farm. We generally don't adopt out because we get older hens, and people always want the young ones that are going to lay a lot of eggs. And so and we're pretty selective, so we don't want to have the chickens go out and be another production facility. But they don't live forever. I mean, like Christine, I think you
How
were saying,
long do they usually live, Jill?
it really depends on the breed and how they've been treated. So some of them actually rally and live, 8 or more years, but others surprisingly just seem to drop dead and without any visible reason. We're constantly either reinforcing our fencing because we have predators like raccoons, coyote, and occasionally a cougar comes to the island, makes all the news. And so we have to constantly be one step ahead, building better fencing and electrifying and so forth in order to protect everybody.
We'll
We
go
do
on. So what, I didn't mean to cut you off in the mid-sentence there, but so why do you have I was curious, why do you have apples in there? Tell us a little bit about the whole situation. And you have 50, you said, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, the apples, I had to tell my farm worker that, their beaks have been clipped, so they can't really peck at those apples. So we had to go back in and cut up all the apples so that they could eat them. So it's, they have to be treated a little bit differently than other chickens because of their toes and because of their beaks. But
yeah, Christine, did you want to address that question? The one about the future, how you see this working, and would you continue on as so to speak, a safe house that moves them on through the adoption process? Do you see your organization doing that? Can she hear? No, she can't hear me.
She's on mute.
Yeah, I have to mute because there's static if I don't. Christine, did you hear my question?
I did. Yes. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I look at this in a few different ways. We can take in animals as space allows. There's so many requests that each of our sanctuaries get every single day. It's a real balancing act. But I think at the baseline, whether we're looking at the level of taking in animals as individuals at sanctuaries and our limits, we need to educate people on why these animals matter in the same way they matter like dogs and cats. And that means educating people on their care. And that's a constantly evolving process for each of us. We learn new things every single day about what we can do in terms of best practices, understanding animals' behaviors. Chickens are incredibly smart and interesting animals. They are the greatest teachers in so many ways. And they happen to be the most abused land animals on the planet. So we have a huge task on our shoulders. And it's about educating people, whether it's ourselves or potential adopters. But it's also talking about the bigger picture of egg consumption, animal consumption. And as we see the animal product alternatives becoming more mainstreamed at fast food restaurants, there you go. Perfect product picture. The options that are out there for people to try new foods that don't involve harming animals are growing and growing. And we need to showcase these items just as much as we're showing the animals to show how delicious the vegan diet can be and how we can be good role models and be good cheerleaders for what we are advocating for, the animals' protection and a healthy diet. So it's a two-pronged approach in a lot of ways. And it takes, I want to say a village to do that, but I think it'd be more appropriate if we said it takes a flock to do that. So
love that. Love that. Megan, do you want to address that same question?
Yeah, I mean, we all have limited space, so we can only take on so many permanent residents. And so those residents become ambassadors for the thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of other animals that are not as lucky to be living on our sanctuaries. This is because we're so new, we started in October last year. We weren't sure exactly what we can do or not do. And I think we will always keep our barn, that one barn where the hens are right now, open. All these girls are going to be adopted. And it would be great if we could help facilitate that and be a landing zone for future rescues, not just of hens, but all other species as well. But while we're talking about hens, definitely hens.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if there's a way to teach people who have the land, what the minimum requirements would be to adopt a few birds, maybe 5 birds, a small number of birds. I think if the public knew what it took, how much land do you need? What would it cost to build a hen house? What would the daily routine be to provide care in various geographic locations, which would take the weather into concern? What would it take? You know, what happens when the temperature falls below a certain a temperature? Do you have to have a heated barn for them? I honestly don't know those specifics because that's not what I do. I work on the other side of this of rescue in facilitating the rescues. But I mean, people like me, I'd like to know.
I mean, I think we need education programs in general in all areas, like you ladies were talking about before, saying how people don't know how sentient chickens or how intelligent they are. And what you're saying, Lisa, about how, you know, possibly that could be segue into a family pet. But what do you think about the fact, how do you feel about the fact that some people will take them for having hen laying eggs and then getting rid of them later, Lisa? What do you think about
Well, I think that we have to, because with the hens that I've been helping to adopt from Happy Hen, the rule is we really want it to go to vegan families, and it's certainly okay to use the eggs to be given back to the hens for them to consume. I think everybody here is nodding their head, but not for humans to consume, and certainly never to any kind of a home business where people are profiting over the eggs. We want the eggs not to be used for sale and only to be used for themselves. But certainly not a situation we want people consuming them. And I think you just simply have somebody sign a document. Now, there would be a real way to police it, but I think most people that want to do this, I think, would be serious about, okay, no, I'm not going to eat them.
Yeah.
And certainly not give them any medications that would increase their likelihood of laying more eggs. These hens have laid all the eggs they need to lay in their entire lives. So whatever they lay is just naturally what their body does.
Right. Kery.
You just set up a framework.
Kery.
Yes.
What do you think about this? You're the only one that hasn't addressed it yet. I want to give you a chance to address it.
No, I completely agree with everyone. It is about education, what we're doing as vegans for advocacy for these hens, and allowing them to be the ambassadors that they are. I 100% agree with it, because hen rescue is not sustainable. And I'm so grateful to all of you for opening up your barns and doing the work that you do. And yes, the biggest thing is getting people to change their views, the way that a lot of people feel about dogs and cats or any other species of animals, to adopt that and embrace that for farmed animals, specifically these hens. And over the last couple of years, I've seen incredible things happening with people having hens as pets, indoor, outdoor pets, hens in diapers, hens in aprons, hens in outfits, hens in strollers. And it's just all the, I was at a conference once and I heard one sanctuary who spent $20,000 on their one chicken. And I thought to myself, that is crazy. But at the same time, I said, that is amazing. If everyone could hear how much one individual loves this hen that much, they would spend that much time and care and money the same way that, I spent on my dog, then that really changes things. And, put that out there and allow people to wrap their heads around that someone would spend that amount on a hen that they care about so much. And being around these hens, they're just incredible little beings. So yeah, that is what I'm hoping that more people would. But at the same time, I'm thinking that ideally we want to adopt out to vegans, and that's not always the case. There's only X amount of vegans out there and X amount that can actually take in hens, whether it's sanctuaries or individual homes. And so my thought is, while I'm not thrilled, potentially them going to a non-vegan home, that I know so many cases of where these hens have changed, people from vegetarians to vegans, or just full-on meat eaters to vegans, because they have been so inspired by these animals. And that is something that I think it's worth trying with certain individuals and seeing that relationship unfold, because these animals they are just so powerful, and how they can influence us without, just by being how they are. So
Right. And
yeah.
have you seen any of the news? Like Lisa and I were talking about this. Remember, Lisa, a lot of the sanctuaries now are starting this. In fact, I did a story on it, to do Zoom interviews where
Yes.
they collect, they get donations through that. And I wonder if you ladies know about that, where you can have Zoom, people want to bring chickens to their office parties. So with the COVID-19, everybody's sort of like, very down. And this is a way to uplift it, make it different. Plus, they're getting like $50 for a 15-minute session or something like that. I was wondering if any of you guys have thought about that or other unique fundraiser. And Lisa, jump in as well. Let's just go around the circle and have everyone go around. So we'll start with Jill and go around the circle of any unique fundraisers, or what do you think of that idea? Whatever you want to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, we haven't done that because we're pretty tight with volunteers and that skill set. Most people are out there with the animals. But what we have done, Vashon's a kind of an eclectic little community, and even though we're unincorporated King County, we have this unofficial mayor's race every year.
Nice.
The candidates are usually animals, and they represent a nonprofit. And you can vote as many times as you want for as many candidates as you want, and it's $1 a vote. So whoever earns the most votes after this, and there's a parade and everything. And so we entered Henrietta, one of our most sociable hens, into the race and made a chicken wire and paper mache version of Henrietta. We wouldn't monetize the actual bird. And carried her in a radio flyer wagon as her float down in the parade. And she didn't win because it was getting the word out that we existed. But it was a lot of fun, and she did raise over $1,000 for the rescue. So
fantastic.
That's how we're kind of getting the word out. Go Henrietta.
Yeah. How about you, Kery? Any? I know that you don't work exactly. You want to just talk a little bit exactly about what you do, because you really didn't mention that. That's one thing we didn't cover.
Sure.
So we'll go back to the other question for the rest. Go ahead.
Sure. So a part of our project is we have formed partnerships with certain organizations, sanctuaries, nonprofits, and rescues, because there's so many nonprofits, there's so many rescues out there, and it's hard. You give money here and there. And we really just wanted to hone it in, and so we seek out certain organizations and just provide support. And Harvest Home is one of our partnerships, and it's just that's really what it is. And when there are situations, I can reach out to them and see if they could work with us on something, and vice versa. And we've just kind of created this small family of nonprofits, just being there for each other and working together on different things.
I think that reminds me of what Lisa Karlan does. We're going to get to Lisa in a minute, but she's called the Vegan Ninja, because she's got this network and she just goes out from that network, and it's kind of the same thing you're doing. And I think we need more of that. But it's Megan's turn to comment right now. So Megan, you can comment on either or both, but what unique fundraising, if you have any ideas, we'd love to hear them. Go ahead.
Oh, we have so many ideas all the time. We're idea makers, and then we have hours of chores to do around the farm. And especially with the shelter in place, we were gearing up a volunteer program, being so new and new to the community. We were really getting the word out, trying to get people, and then it was shelter in place. And so, so we actually have been spending so much time on animal care that we've done some small fundraisers. Like we did Guess Luther the pig's weight, and the winner, for $25, and then the winner was to receive a T-shirt that we had made, and so that helped raise $500. And we did a summer staycation to help get hot weather items for all the animals, fans and misters and sunshades. And so we've really been utilizing Facebook and Instagram for that sort of thing. But we have some other big, crazy ideas that may or may not come to be in the next 12 months. So we'll see.
Wow, that sounds exciting. We'll have to keep in touch. And I just wanted to tell all of you ladies, I do these shows twice a week. So in the future, I can have you on individually and focus on your sanctuaries as well once we get past this. Because we do, like Lisa was saying, and we were saying before, it's so difficult for all these sanctuaries to keep afloat, particularly during the coronavirus. So we do want to do whatever we can help. So Christine, it's your turn. What do you want to tell us?
Oh, she's
Muted.
Is she muted again? Oh my goodness. I have to keep muting. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
We have been having a lot of fun. We've been making the best out of a bad situation with the pandemic on our shoulders. Back in the spring, we hosted a virtual chicken run. It was a really fun fundraiser for our organization. We've been really honing in on educational efforts that are free, that are virtual. At the end of July, the last week of July, we have a free humane summer camp that we're hosting via Zoom. You can check out the info at harvesthomesanctuary.org. We do virtual story time. That is a very important part of our work, is promoting compassion and literacy. So we've been doing a lot of animal-centered story times and doing a lot of educational outreach with schools via Zoom. So it has been very rewarding, and it's been a huge learning curve in terms of really harnessing technology in a time that we have to keep social distance. And we've been referring to our work virtually as Sanctuary in Place. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been really rewarding to be able to continue our work in a different way.
Great. Lisa, you're next. Go ahead.
So I would love to help coordinate if any of these sanctuaries, either that are on the show today or that have been on the show in the past, or would like to be on the show in the future and have not appeared, contact us at Jane Unchained News. Our emails are pretty easy. Lindsay would be the first person to contact because she does the rescue stories, and her email, can I give it out?
Yeah, Lindsay at janeunchained.com.
Yeah, Lindsay at janeunchained.com. I'm Lisa.
Lindsay with an E.
Yeah, Lindsay with an E, and I'm Lisa at janeunchained.com. And if you've got an idea, if I can handle it, I will certainly parse it out to whomever's domain that would be. I do more of the medical stories. I'll give myself a little boost. I did a show with Dr. Neil Barnard yesterday. So I was really happy.
Okay, we have only a few minutes left.
But I was going to say, I think we need...
Whose phone is that? Please turn off your phone. Okay, we've got to give everybody their last minutes. We're down to 5.
So I think education is where to go. We need more videos teaching people how to, what does it take? What does a newbie need to know? I might want to, hypothetically adopt some hens. What do I need to know? What would be the bare minimum? And maybe, several 2 or 3 short videos that actually highlighted if somebody has some land and would like, their zone where they can have chickens. I think that would be the next way to look at perhaps adopting them out.
Well, maybe we can do a show. Right now, we got to move on. So,
Okay.
Jill, please,
Yes.
last words. What would you like everyone to know before we go today?
I guess what we've been doing in the pandemic, just kind of as an add-on to what we were talking about, is a lot of people are stuck at home, but they want to do family projects. So we invite them to come as volunteers with social distancing and masks and all that. And we try to plan discrete projects so it's not just mucking out a coop or something, but like painting a new coop or something that they can do all as a family. And that way, kind of to Lisa's question also, they get to see what it takes to have chickens in a healthy environment. So that's been a kind of a fun way that we've been, and then they usually make a donation, so it's a little bit of a fundraiser, but it's a way to educate the community kind of one-on-one.
Hey, we need donations, folks. I mean, this is something we need to talk about. All of these organizations are doing amazing work. Please share out this video. Please, if you can, make a donation. But even going on their Facebook pages, their social media, and commenting and sharing, that's a tremendous help. So if you're unable right now to do so, then you can do that as well. There's always a way to help, as you can see from all of these people putting out all this effort and doing these wonderful things. And it makes you feel so good. Okay, next we have Christine. Last words.
Last words. If you can't adopt, you can always sponsor a chicken. And that's something that all of our sanctuaries do. It's a very fun and very virtual friendly way of helping. So we like to celebrate the individuality of the animals, and that's a perfect way to be a part of our rescue work from your home. So that's what I got. Thank you for having us on air.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Megan, go ahead. Megan, go ahead.
No worries. I am obsessed with these animals. And so I spend every waking moment I can with them taking videos so that you and everybody can get to know them as individuals. Because where ours are individuals, they're all individuals. And so that's the biggest thing is just think about these animals like you would your family members or your companion animals. They all deserve that amount of respect. So please support the work that we're all doing in any way, financially, sharing pictures, liking pictures, talking about it is super important to us.
Are you outside right now? Are you out at the sanctuary?
Yes.
Is there any way you can just show us a little of that real quick? It's so.
It might be too bright.
It's
There's
too
a
bright.
barn back there.
Wow.
Oh, we have some chickens over here.
You do? Oh, great. Look at that.
Little enclosure for them. Predator proof, hopefully.
Yeah.
Pretty
That's
sure.
Great. So we have Kery. Have 2 minutes left. One for Kery, one for Lisa, and one half for me. Lisa, we're splitting it. Go ahead, Kery.
Sure.
There's
so many ways. So if you're not able to have a sanctuary, support rescues, donate. I feel like just figure out what you're good at, what your skills and talents are, and to use those towards advocating towards animals.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Not everybody is good at everything. I think if I had to go to do a rescue and I was in charge, I would just panic. I'm not that, but I'm a good helper and I'm a good, at other areas. Lisa, last words. Oh no, she's muted. Had to mute.
There we go. All right. I'd like to ask everybody, all of our participants today on the show, to go on to the comments on Jane Unchained and respond to the people that are here. Please put in your fundraisers if you've got a link into the comments. And also go on to YouTube. That would be Jane Unchained News on YouTube and at JVM on Twitter. And make comments. Put in whatever you need to do because we are simulcasting to both YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So that's my 2 cents.
Fantastic point, Lisa, as always. So I don't know what we would do without Lisa.
And share all those links on your personal pages. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll be sharing out on Instagram. So I think I have everybody's handles, but if I don't have your social handles, please make sure I get them so we can share out. Kery, yeah, go ahead.
Last thing, just to answer Lisa's question about what to do if you wanted to adopt a hen or have a hen. Tuesday, I believe you're going to have Isabel from Chlorophyll, and she can go over all of that on what the procedure is to get a hen and care for hens and all of that jazz. So, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Great. Yeah, if you had ladies are involved with any of the people coming on and you want them to talk about something, let's keep this community going. I think if we all work together, we can help facilitate some good stuff. So thank you for being on, everyone. I appreciate it so much. Folks, tune in next Saturday, same time, 10 a.m. Bring your cup of coffee and your imagination to my show because you will be happy you did. Bye, everyone. Catch you later.
Bye.
Thank you.